Sudeep, Ilya, fantastic to see you here, and another great opportunity to talk about the world of Microsoft, the world of Logitech, and this world that we're moving into, which is involving all the products that you've got a platform that enables us to use the products, and Sudeep, Logitech make a great range of products. So let's jump straight into a quick introduction. Sudeep, who are you? Tell the world.
Deep needs no introduction. Right?
I'm head of alliances and go-to-market for Logitech's video business group.
And you've been involved in video for a long time. I think we've known each other for 6-7 years now, involved in the whole Logitech video journey. So it's fantastic to have you here. Ilya, again, a man who definitely doesn't need any introduction. Tell the world who you are.
Sure, I'm Ilya Bukshteyn. I'm the general manager for devices in the Teams product group. And, quick addition to Sudeep, the reason that at Microsoft I just say Sudeep and everyone knows who in my team who I'm talking about, years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Sudeep came to a meeting with us. I can't remember if it was at an Ignite or an Inspire, but he was like, Logitech want to do this thing in rooms that has video, audio, and compute, and it runs back then it was Skype for Business. What do you guys think? And we were like, no, we don't have that today, but it did make us think, and we circled back, and that's how we did the very first what was then Skype room system together with Logitech. So it's been a long and very fruitful partnership.
Well, there are Sudeep.
It's amazing partnership, and we've truly transformed the industry. I mean, it's I feel so proud and privileged to be partnered with Ilya and the whole Microsoft team to have such a huge impact, customers and partners in the whole industry.
And then if you kind of fast forward that meeting 5 years, 6 years ago, fast forward to where we are now. I mean, who would have believed that we'd be in a position where what we are doing is so instrumental in allowing people to actually get on with their lives? And that's what I want to talk about, is the impact of what you guys produce. One side, the person that is responsible for the platform, and the other person that enables that platform to work by producing the products, on a number of 4 main areas: people, the process, the space, and the technology that we deploy into those spaces. So let's take the people bit first, because I think this is the most important side. We've got this hybrid shift, this hybrid paradox, as Satya mentions, where you've got this situation where everybody wants connectivity. They want to connect with their with people, but they also want flexibility. Sudeep, how do you see Logitech's responsibility in making this happen?
Yeah, so obviously there's huge fundamental shifts happening in terms of where and how people work. Just recently, yesterday, I saw the report from Microsoft Work Trend Index, where up to 73% of people are saying that they want to continue working from home because they've shown that they can be productive wherever they are. And what that means is they don't want to go back to the office and sit at their desk for 8 hours just to do their thing. So the role of office is also fundamentally changing. It's more about those interactions, engagements where people are co-creating, brainstorming, meeting together to align and make decisions together. So the people are expecting the workplace and office to really transform to be that inviting, engaging place. And that means, as a technology provider, we have to change our thinking and provide solutions that are creating those engaging environments where people want to come and co-create and collaborate and be productive. And then going back to that 73%, which is, by the way, amazing number. So on any given day, if up to 73% of people are remote, then what is their experience from home? Do they be part of it? Are they included? Are they treated as a first-class citizen? Are the technologies enabling that? And to provide them experiences which are not just good enough to be as good as where they are, but actually even better than being there. And that's a responsibility and challenge for us, and the opportunity to help customers addressing that need.
And that's it, really, really a great point. And I think, yeah, Ilya, I think something that we've discussed in the past is the functionality in Teams to actually help create the ability of people that are remote to feel that they are true full participants.
Yeah, I sort of second everything Sudeep said. When we talk to people internally who've had to adjust over the last 2 years to customers, a lot of it has been about adjusting to the new norms in a way that gives you confidence and makes you feel not just heard and seen, but that you're coming off well. And so people have done fantastic things we didn't even expect with Teams. People have setups that have Teams on an iPad over next to their monitor so they can monitor chat, and they've got lighting and fantastic devices. But we're definitely hearing that we're at a point where they've made that adjustment, and they are feeling that they can digitally raise hands and that they're going to be seen, they can react. There's all these new norms that have been built up. Unfortunately, what we're also hearing is those norms don't translate to when some people are together physically and some are remote. And I think that's been the big mind shift of we're not going back to pre-pandemic. I think some business leaders, I remember when we first started working from home, the message we got was it was for 2 weeks. So we definitely, I think, had this expectation that it was a blip. And I think what we're clearly seeing, hearing, learning now is it's a transformation in how we work. We're not all going to go back. Frankly, companies are more distributed than ever. I don't have a single team that I know of in Teams that's all in one location. Even if they were to try to get physically together, they're world distributed. So our customers are asking us to really think through, like, as you said, people, process, etiquette, tips, and technology for this new world that we've coined as hybrid.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, that's a really good point, is why should people come back? And particularly when their experience is so good at home. I mean, a lot of people have got, I mean, many people haven't, but a lot of people have got great setups at home. So how do you make work kind of better than working from home? Sudeep, how's that been addressed? Or sorry, Ilya, you're going to answer that one.
Sudeep, I'm happy to have you do it, and maybe I'll jump in with some thoughts, because we were literally talking about this with our senior leadership team yesterday for Microsoft internally. But please go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, so it is this really interesting experiment that we're all living through, where the data is sort of polarizing. There are some people who crave seeing each other in person, crave that brainstorming, that interaction. And I had an opportunity to get together in a meeting physically yesterday about our internal meeting rooms with some of our executives. And they were all saying, like, wow, I miss this. One of them, just to tell an anecdote, said, it's been interesting because I've been staring at your butts for the last 2 years. And we're like, what? He says, yeah, you guys stand up in front of the camera. I've been remote. You guys stand up in front of the camera to present, and that's all I see. And he didn't say but, he used another euphemism. But it's actually nice to see your faces in more ways than one. And so we have folks that are maybe introverts that have a great setup at home, that are feeling very comfortable remote work. We have folks that are craving interaction. And I think the majority are actually somewhere in the middle. What we're seeing in the data is most people want both. They want the ability to be productive at home. They want the ability to get together with people physically. And they're really looking for help on how to make that work well.
Which is the paradox we talked about. It's overcoming that. So Sudeep, when you look at that, what's Logitech's philosophy? I mean, let's actually get a peek into the Logitech's window. What are you doing as a company to make this work?
Yeah, so first of all, I have to give kudos to Ilya and Microsoft team. The whole pace of innovation in Teams around this area and in general has been just amazing. And really, so what we feel as our job is to really work hand in hand to augment and enhance those experiences so that the end users have a great end-to-end experience for both remote attendees and people in the room. And a lot of it comes down to innovatively using AI technologies and applying that in ways that give people that kind of natural engagement wherever they are, whether they are sitting in the room or in remote. And a lot of it also comes down to creating those enhanced experiences for brainstorming, whiteboarding, kind of elements that Ilya also mentioned that kind of lose in a remote environment a lot of times.
Interesting, isn't it? So you talked about teams there, and you mentioned the innovation in teams. So I'm going to ask you the question: when we move to process, we've done people. Let's look at process. Why teams? There's other choices. There's plenty. There's more than one option here. Why choose teams, Ilya?
I do think Teams, I know you said there's plenty of other choices, and I'm clearly biased, but I do think Teams is somewhat unique. In that, Teams is a portal for all of Microsoft 365. It is a collaboration solution. It's an application platform. It's your phone system, and it's your video meeting system. Now, I'll be frank, I think when you look at the other choices, they're all going to follow in this model over time. They will add chat and channels and attempt to build that up. But Teams from day one has been envisioned as the new place for work, the place where I live, much like many of us sort of lived in Outlook in the 90s or 2000s. My work, and most everyone else I know, is inherently team-based now, collaborative. And so the place where I live isn't just where I go to join a meeting and then close the app, like some of our competitors. It's the place where I go to see the materials, to see a meeting that happened after the fact and pull out the key action items, to work on a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint, or check my Power BI dashboard, or get insights from Viva. So in short, it is this view into everything that we aim to deliver with Microsoft 365.
I mean, it's a great point. I mean, Teams, from when I first started using Teams, slowly but surely, I've moved from going into Teams to use functions to being in Teams to live in a Teams environment to actually use all the different functions at the same time. What I'm a little bit worried about is when you announce that Teams is now on Apple CarPlay, which means Teams is going to follow me everywhere, which kind of brings me to you on this point, Sudeep, is when we look at this Teams process, and you've got to produce products that actually literally have to go from the home to the hot desk to the conference room, and actually beyond that, how do you go about that process, and how do you get a product set that enables Teams to happen anywhere?
Yeah. So first of all, right from the day one when we started this business, we knew that this sort of partnership with Microsoft and Teams is critical to our success, because for end users, the whole experience has to come together, whether Teams on desktop or room, and in our hardware and how it lights up all these different scenarios. So what we are looking at when we are looking at providing solutions, we are kind of looking at the whole system or the environment, whether it's on the desk or the room. And a lot of those things have to come together in a very cohesive sort of manner. Let's talk about the office context. You come in, you walk into the meeting area where there's a scheduling panel display. You kind of use that to schedule, get inside, book your room, go in, how the meeting controls happen, audio, video, whiteboarding. Same for desk. So we are kind of looking at this whole technology challenge as a how do we solve that whole environment, not just in piece parts here and there, but how are we solving it for the whole environment, and also doing it in a way that's addressing the needs of different types of interactions and engagements that happen. If you look at meeting spaces, those are evolving very fast from just standard bowling alley sort of conference rooms to a lot of different engaging meeting spaces. So how are we kind of evolving technologies that meet the needs of different types of interactions and engagements that happen? So that's kind of how we are looking at things, is providing tools and technologies that work together to take care of your environment, whether working from home, at the office desk, or going into a group meeting space.
And does that, Sudeep, apply to the operating system as well? bringing Android into the game, which kind of seems a little bit of it's counterintuitive from a Windows environment that we're used to produce an Android version of that operating system.
Yeah, so the kind of underlying thing there is customers are telling us that they want to, as they implement these hybrid workplace strategies, they need to video enable, provide modern collaboration experience for every meeting space. So the solutions need to be really be able to simply deployed at scale throughout the organization in different ways. And what that means is you need to provide choices to customers. There are some customers who want a simplified kind of an appliance sort of solution. There are some other customers who want a more flexible solution, like a PC-based solution. So that's our strategy, is to give customers those choices and flexibility, and in essence, kind of reducing friction, removing barriers so that IT can make decisions based on their security and operations best practices that they have implemented for their organization.
I mean, I can see that. It must be funny though from you, Ilya, when you're a Windows, born in the Windows person, and I know Microsoft has made a big change, actually having things like Microsoft applications available on many other platforms. But where do you see the shift from being solely Windows based to being an Android option as well?
Yeah, like you said, I think, yes, I have been at Microsoft a long time, and we certainly were the Windows company. And, I'm proud of that. I joined Microsoft about a year before we launched Windows 95. And that was incredible, and I still remember it. But I think you've seen us really focus on meeting customers where they are. And that is our focus with Teams, and that's our focus with Teams devices. So as Sudeep said, there are customers who prefer Android for a variety of reasons. There are many customers who prefer Windows. Our goal is to make that a customer choice independent of choosing Teams and Teams rooms. Now, I will say the feature set is slightly different today. There are some things that we sort of get inherently in Windows that allows us to deliver some advanced experiences like support for intelligent speakers. You will see that difference narrow over time. I can't, because I'm in product development and everything depends on developer hours. I can't say exactly when, but I can say that that's our destination. Our destination is to make the OS choice very separate from the feature choice and the experience choice.
I'd like to spend some time actually on how that relates to space, but we're at this point. Let's just jump to technology, because you're talking
Sure.
about the fact. What I love about the Android story is I can coin the phrase, you can buy now, choose later, or buy now, change later. So you can, I think, Sudeep, I'm right in saying that you can buy products from Logitech and you can go and choose one platform, but then you can change within the same form factor with the same product to another platform.
Absolutely, and that's really key, because the customer needs evolve, they change, and that's why we made this decision and work hard with Microsoft to provide that choice to customers so that there is future proofing. And to be honest, that's the challenge that Ilya, me, others we took on a few years ago, is to move from that old proprietary stack that customers hated to a new world where there are more choices and flexibilities, not just for where your needs are today, but how they may evolve in future as well.
And if you move that on, I mean, you've now got operating system choice within the same platform and within the same hardware. But what about platform choice? I mean, CVI is something that we kind of keep on talking about a lot in the industry. Is that a short-term fix, Ilya, or is it a long-term feature?
So CVI, Cloud Video Interop, is something we absolutely see customers ask for when they have an existing estate of what Sudeep so well called old proprietary video teleconferencing systems. So, yep, they need that until those systems can be fully depreciated and exchanged. Now, moving forward, what I'm very excited about is what we call direct guest join. I didn't come up with that name, marketing did. And I see that as the future of the industry. And put very simply, that is web technology-based approach to modern room systems, being able to do a guest join to any non-native cloud service. So Teams rooms can join Zoom and WebEx meetings. You will hear us talk about that expanding to other online services, which I'm sure everyone can imagine what those would be, pretty soon. So that is our focus moving forward, and we will continue to enhance Direct Guest Join. So for those who may be saying, well, Direct Guest Join doesn't support dual displays or it doesn't support HDMI ingest, we hear you. And we are working across ourselves and our competitors to see what we can do about addressing those shortcomings.
That's taking us straight back into that, live in a Teams world, communicate outside to different platforms, but you still start and live in that Teams environment, which has got all your information, organizes your world, and enables you to collaborate and communicate.
Certainly, that's what our customers are asking us for.
Yeah.
I should, by the way, thank Sudeep also. The reason I'm wearing a tailor-made golf shirt is I had the opportunity just before this to join an all hands that TaylorMade Golf invited me to, because they had just finished rolling out every single meeting room with Teams rooms with Logitech Rally. And one of the things they emphasized for me is that in a hybrid world, they have to have great video experiences, great Teams experiences everywhere. And they emphasize that they live in teams. But of course, they have meetings with suppliers, customers, other folks, and they need to be able to communicate with them.
Excellent. I mean, that brings me to one of the reasons for sort of talking now is we're going to have these Logitech Microsoft events in September where we're going to look at more deeply on a regional basis around this whole environment, looking at people, process, space, and the technology, and really deep dive into the intersection of products, of platform, and of operating system, and how that's going to impact the world as we move, hopefully, through to the new normal, which enables us to be back into a true hybrid environment where people are happy to go back into the office. Sudeep, why should people spend some of their video time, their non-video time, because we've got so much video time, actually giving those events an hour of their time to learn more about that intersection?
Yeah, we are very, very excited about this webinar series. Again, Microsoft has had such an incredible pace of innovation for Teams and Teams rooms over last year and a half, and we have been busy as well. There's so many new technologies we have launched: Rally Bar family, Tap family expansion, Scribe, and so on and so forth. But in the end, we know that customers have very hard, tough decisions to make as they implement this hybrid workplace. There's a lot to think through. There's so many decisions to be made on the different choices that they have. So what we want to do is to use these webinars to help customers navigate those decisions and choices on making the right decisions to provide the best user experience for different types of meeting spaces, for technologies and how people come together, and the platform choices that they need to make decisions on to provide an environment that meets IT needs for today and for future as well.
And we hear a lot about, if you look at the Geoffrey Moore crossing the chasm, I think the world has crossed the chasm now and knows that it needs to deploy these solution sets. So what you're saying, Sudeep, is that join this if you want to learn more and get a more informed decision on which direction you should be going on. And Ilya, do you see that in the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. We, as you mentioned, published some updated materials and sort of our thoughts yesterday. And while we have been incredibly humbled and gratified by the adoption Teams has seen now with over 250 million monthly active users, we still hear most of our customers tell us that they feel they're very productive in today's remote world, and yet they feel not well prepared for the hybrid world. Lots and lots of questions about that experience, the people process, the etiquette, the tips, tricks, and the technology that goes in for remote workers and in rooms. And so we are really looking for every opportunity to engage with customers, listen to the feedback, the needs, and hopefully provide some info and guidance that will help them. And this seminar series is, I think, one of those venues where hopefully our customers will get our views together with Logitech on how they can thrive in a hybrid work world.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ilya. Thank you, Sudeep. I will add that I think there's a chance to find out how you can experience Microsoft Teams Rooms products from Logitech, to actually as a POC or as a way of getting your hands on the products as part of the webinar series. And I think actually, Sudeep, Logitech are even donating, I would say, enabling people to get some free products. So exciting just to join that, just for that reason. Look, thank you both very much. Great half hour, really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing the seminars, I like the word seminar rather than a webinar, that are coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jon and Sudeep. It's always just such a pleasure to spend time with both of you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.